being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you are. Hold up. Just getting a green screen because I feel that this is some important channeled messages that need to just have your focusing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. This is Codes of Harmony. This is not going to be a very long video, and you may feel like it's slightly disjointed, is what I want to say. Only thing that resonates, leave it does not. And I am a channel. This is channeled messages. If you find any of this triggering, please ask yourself, are you being triggered for the benefit of yourself and the entire collective? And if my style of channeling is not for you, then there are plenty of great tarot readers and channels you can go connect with. Okay, so
powering off.
I don't know how much of that sound was messed up or whatever. I have some messages coming through that have to do with some kind of unified database. And the way it's coming through is a database of bloodlines, specifically ancient bloodlines. Again, only take what resonates, leave what does not. Something about mixing and matching the strongest and most gifted of the 5 tribes of Israel. Something about marching codes and cells that are activated by certain frequencies, particularly multi-layered frequencies and drum beats, as drums are connected to the heartbeat, the sound of a heartbeat that you can hear from when a life is existing within a womb. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. So there's something about a unified database, and they are specifically wanting us to understand that this is different organizations. Some you could even consider to be cults, but different denominations, different religious groups coming together and sharing and creating and adding to a database of bloodlines. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. And these are groups that traditionally have been at war or have fallen out centuries ago, is what I am hearing. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. Something about the life force of a child, something about the pure nature and what is coming through as the red thread of mother love. So from mother to child, from child to mother, from one generation to the next. And there's something about the misuse, misappropriation, and manipulation of that red thread of motherly love that is by nature, by virtue, connected to the frequency of life force that is within a child. This could, of course, be speaking about your inner child. This message is definitely, there will be codes in it that certain people understand, who we need to understand at this time, and then there'll be other layers of meaning that not everybody can understand, or other layers of meaning that are more of the earthly realm, the superficial, the 3D reality. I also channeled something about the bastardization and the twisting of the underworld codes of conduct. So something about the rules and the agreements that have been set in place between different energies and different gods of the underworld. And this is definitely connected to scorpionic energy. You may be a Scorpio, you may be connected to a Scorpio, which of course is very connected to the other side, connected to beyond the veil, connected to the underworld. And something about the branches of the underworld being twisted and corrupted and co-opted at the time of the of Babylonian time. And they're talking about the architectural hacking that is connected to the 200 fallen angels, that is connected to King Solomon, that is connected to the Tower of Babel, Babylonian towers. And they're saying that something changed the course of the entire world, the entire collective, and all realms when the first child was sold, connected to the Babylonian slave trade, specifically because of certain rituals, certain techniques, certain magic practices, and certain ancient wisdom that had to do with ley lines, that had to do with specifically placing that tower connected to Nimrod, connected to that specific ley line of the earth. That was a form of architectural hacking, and they're wanting to highlight this in connection to the way that churches have also utilized architectural hacking, is the way they're wanting it to be explained. That opens up stargates, opens up portals connected to both the upper realm and the lower realm. Yeah. And there's something about basements, something about the basement energy that is very much connected to the so there's this sense, and this has been coming through in channeling for a while now, something about the underworld's code of conduct actually being broken, which is kind of I don't want to say that's oxymoronic, but it's definitely well, that means it's going to be bad, right? It's obviously going to be bad. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. So something about what also came through was swamp magic. Something connected to swamp magic, something connected to the color pink, something, and there being the misuse of Venus codes, the divine feminine energy connected to Venus, as well as the planetary alignments of Venus. So this has to do with certain key dates connected to the frequency of Venus that have been manipulated and activated through multiple levels of organizations. And these organizations have now unified their communication around the sharing of this data bank. So it's got something to do with, I just said research and development. It's got something to do with, which is, I would see that as an editing term, but I would also see that as like a project, like where along in the project where along in the 1,000-year project we are. And there's lots of illusions being cast around that because of the illegal, like the ethically illegal breaks of codes of conduct connected to both the underworld and the upper realm, and the intentional hacking, architectural hacking, and use of ley lines that has happened for the wrong reasons. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. And there's something about sea magic being laced into the courthouse, and that's specifically how it is channeled through. And there is something about the laws of the sea, as in LAW, of the sea, and the way the shape of the courthouse, and that's actually connected to mariner law. Something about mariner law, and that being a very tricky, slippery trick that has been encoded into our contemporary law structure. Please give me clean divine guidance, be most beneficial for everyone involved. Something about a science lab in an army base. Something about the way that silkworms work. And so there's some kind of genetic modification that is being attempted to be achieved that is connected to the way that silkworms work. And this unified shared data bank of bloodlines that is trying to mix and match the strongest and most gifted genetic bloodlines connected to the 5 tribes of Israel is somehow connected to the way that silkworms work. And this misuse of Venus, both astrologically as well as the frequency and energies connected to Venus, which of course makes me think of and is connected to the divine feminine, connected to Gaia, connected to the womb, connected to beauty, worship, adoration, and the frequency that is created when there is a fever pitch of adoration towards an idol, towards a figure, particularly one that replicates the nature and the frequency of Venus. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. This could be coming through as light language for you in your lived existence. Some of you are also hearing Gregorian chants that is connected to the angelic realm. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. And these cult files have been unified. There's something very important they want us to understand, that has not happened before, and that these different groups and cults are actually have traditionally been at war. And they are now clearing the throat chakra. They are now unifying in order to do this mass experiment of population control while simultaneously trying to identify and correlate and replicate, harness, control, labify, is what I'm hearing, specific DNA markers, genomes connected to bloodlines, connected to the 5 tribes of Israel. Something about reeds, as in the reeds that grow on the edge of a river. Something about footprints, something about shells, something about a secret temple that is underneath water. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial. And no, this is not connected specifically to Atlantis as we know it, that there was a connection between this secret underground temple. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial. And we also remember that many deserts were once seas, were once oceans. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. And there's something about something about muse codes, and this is something that has been coming through in channeling for a while now, something to do with muse codes that are getting harnessed for the music industry, and that is somehow connected to IQ testing. And it's really interesting, as this channeling just came through, I did a bit of research, and some of the most well-known and successful musicians, such as Lady Gaga and Snoop Dogg, have very high IQs. And of course, these IQs could be also compared to many of the people in the tech industry, in the tech world, that have been aware of via science and art and I just heard middle management, whatever that means. They've been aware of the mass awakening that is taking place at the moment. And so because the fear of the mass awakening, there's this sense of, I'm seeing what's it called, a spinning top, and something about losing control of this data bank. It's also connected to the recent discovery or uncovery of the hidden pages of the Bible that has been found, or I should really say protected, by Ethiopian leaders, monks, spiritual practitioners for millennia. And something about talismans that were actually found in 2003 when America invaded Iraq. These have been hidden from the public. These have not been shown to anybody, and these are being kept in very high security somewhere on a army base, is what I'm hearing. Please give me clear and divine guidance be most beneficial for everyone involved. And there's something to do with a blood coding, or a blood codex, a bloodline, something to do with blood that reshapes the brain cells, which makes me think about regeneration and is connected to the extension of life as well as the rebirthing of the body as well as the soul. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. And they're saying this has something to do with generating an ear to hear, which is connected to the Bible and the idea of being able to hear the word of God, to be able to hear the angels singing, to be able to hear divine guidance, as well as hearing your ancestors, and with that scorpionic energy speaking through the veil to those that are no longer in physical form. There's also been a meeting of ascended masters that has taken place. That's all I can say on that. There's also something connected to the testing of shells as well as bone. Something connected to bones, which does make me think about bone magic and some of the ancient gifts that shamans hold and have. And then there's something to do with the bones in the wall of China, and that there's been secret tests being done that have been taking place since the late 80s connected to the bones in the wall of China. Please give me clear and divine guidance, be most beneficial. And this is definitely connected to the ability to activate one's Merkaba, which is highly sought after by those connected to the quote-unquote space race. which traditionally we would associate with Russia versus America. But of course, there is multiple new players, right, in the world of the space race, and so these this code this coding, this blood coding, these bloodlines naturally have abilities and a meshed coding around activating and using the Merkaba, which many believe, and there's many signs that indicate that to increasing the chances and the likelihood of quote unquote success in the space race. Space race is also a terminology that the spirits really don't like. And they want me to say that at the moment. Something about tricks to energy and divine protection, and something about electromagnetic fields connected to the gifted, right? And something about that, the electromagnetic field that is activated within the beating heart of a child, as well as the beating heart of a mother, a caregiver, a protector, and somebody who has had their Merkaba activated. Something connected, this is also connected to the 4 directions, the prayer of the four directions, which again comes back to the magic of the ocean, right? Like when a boat goes out on the water, it operates. They're wanting us to talk about this in this metaphoric way. When a boat is out at sea, it can often land between different barriers of law, and so there's like a different law that so much interference. There's a different law that exists on the high seas, on the ocean, on the water, right? And again, something about pink swamp magic. So please, like, be careful. And something about sunrise also coming through. And the bell curve. A bell curve is when there is data and there is 50% data on either side of the midpoint, creating that bell shape. And this is somehow significant. This is what they're looking for. This is the prime example I'm hearing of what they're looking for. And this is definitely connected to the souls of some women that have been coming forward to work with me. 23, 24 on the tick over clock. Something about the number 23, something about the number 24. Something about the number 5 and something about the number 6. And something about the 1940s and this experiment that took place where they something about Germany. And Mary, of course. The motherly love, the motherly code of Mary. Yeah. And they're also bringing forward the wanting us to be aware and understand that there's something about choir song that opens channels and opens stargates. And isolated communities have more unique and specified bloodlines, particularly connected to Israel, Africa, and many small islands that have had a different evolutionary process, if you want to call it that have had a different journey, that have had isolation. So there's investigations being hidden in lots of different activity and lots of different funds and programs that are actually part of this unified data bank of bloodlines that is looking into specific isolated communities. And it goes without saying, many of these are connected to Indigenous peoples or bloodlines that have been connected to particular ley lines for a very long time. I'm seeing a big canoe. Giant blood, extrasensory gifts, and Gilgamesh. They're wanting us to understand, and this is probably the last thing I'll say for now, just in this channeled message, which is a I've finally received word from many of my guides and my angels and the ascended masters that I work with, as well as the frequencies beyond these descriptions, that it is safe and it's time to be able to start sharing some of the messages that I haven't felt safe to up until now. So thank you all for your patience and for being here, and for everybody that has supported me along this journey. I will close out this channeled message by saying that the demons and the devil's kin actually do not want souls that have been forced into sin or debauchery. They/it, speaking of the egregore, speaking of the dark mass, want souls who choose sin. And that is why the trafficking and the slave trade of souls, as well as flesh, and the frequencies of heartbeats, is looked down upon even by the demons, and is something that has altered the course of our history, them story, our shared path. And something about a deal that was made in Mesopotamia. A deal that was made connected to Babylon, connected to Solomon. And something about 7 stations in Iraq and a sister city connected to California. Something about DNA kits, genetic testing, and human weapons. Big Libra energy at the balancing of the scales of justice. A slow, steady, and painful process of revelation, and of dissolving that ghastly trade that was made all that time ago. Wow. Okay, big energy. Big energy. And there's something they're saying about it needs to be at a certain loudness to keep the quiet tones enmeshed. The quiet frequencies. So it's something about multi-layering and activation of connected to frequencies and your Merkaba. I hope that this message has been received with all of the love and good intention that it has been recorded in. So much love from Codes of Harmony.